one of the reasons, like you can see my palette up there. I don't like to clean my palette ever, unless like I need to, start with a clean blue for like a sky or something. But um, as I've painted over the years and things like those colors, I often, I'm hardly ever using color straight out of the tube. So all the pigment and paint that's on my palette, all those colors are, much more saturated than I probably almost will ever use. In certain circumstances, maybe I'll use just a little bit, but um, I'm often always graying them out to kind of fit much more with reality and what I see. So that idea of um, just kind of keeping the palette the way it is, it just kind of already sets itself up to like what's naturally happening in the world around. And so this a lot of these are just a lot of these grays and things are really kind of more muted, these colors and things. But I starting to want to get more details and stuff down there at the bottom. Good, that wheel there. Um, with those grays, like um, the palette just kind of those colors just kind of are mixing with with each other, and they kind of help to create a harmony, a color harmony within a piece because of the colors kind of influencing each other and kind of getting mixed in. Um, so in this, like this brown is getting into a lot of the other colors. I wanted it to. I wanted that warmth to kind of show through or have residue or essence of it in almost everything, even on the cool side of things where there are more like more bluish colors or grays. They still have a little bit of that in there, influencing it from maybe the water is a little bit dirty from that. The brush has a little bit of that brown left in it from using it, or and even just on the palette. So I just have found that like over as I'm painting and things like the color and the harmony that kind of the color palette um, in the piece is help us influence and has helped to create that harmony from not having a crazy clean palette. So, um, and that kind of, I'm much more clean with oil to some degree, but as I'm mixing colors, like all the colors are kind of there and influencing each other as I'm, going back to resaturate my brush or get more pigment on it to paint. So that's one reason I never like to really clean my palette. I just like to let it do its thing. Plus, I think it looks cool. But now I'm feeling better already about the boat. It's like I feel like the form, that was kind of the main, I guess, concern heading into this piece is apart from it kind of emerging from this brownish mist, um, is to kind of get those forms to be like warm and cool and help it to kind of feel that it felt like resembled or was that close to that boat, the shape of the boat that's there from the reference. So having kind of feeling like I kind of am getting that, moving on to those other details at the bottom and around it, to help finish the piece and kind of tell that story and that character that I'm wanting to tell. Which I think these are the fun details where you can really just kind of go to town and be as simple and gestural or kind of painterly and expressive with your brushstroke to say some of these things and not necessarily have to put too much time and effort into it because it's not a focal point. It's just kind of a supporting element in the piece overall and in general. So it's always kind of fun to be able to just do those things. This is, I think, that sled that was there. It's not even winter time, so having that brown, that straight from the palette really worked well because that was like a color that I could go right directly to, knowing that it's the right value and everything. And if I could always start there, and I could always make it lighter and make it blend in as needed where it needed to be. So it's kind of fun to kind of approach it differently this way. I don't know, those other details in there, like the wood on the floor or on the ground, and all the other little pipes and chains and um, bars and stuff that's there. Then you can see like the initial like bar that I put down was so light and you kind of disappeared within the in like the boat shape itself. So I came back on top, get some shadow and had some other darker themes. I think it's like actually like a chrome, right? Or something like polished metal. And so it takes on a lot of the color of the environment. And so um yeah, so I did those things that'll help it to stand out and read. Kind of kept that relatively simple, right? There's This Chrome could be something that could be really complex. We can add a lot of color and other things that are reflecting into it, the environment behind and everything. So it's nice that finally getting all the other elements, get the whole piece covered, the shirt and the towel, and like the stuff that I had left. I didn't need to address that stuff right away. Normally, I like to kind of get the whole thing covered and get it even further along like this, but I just didn't feel that I needed to. I felt like it was able to easily do something like that and take that further. I just needed to focus on the stuff that was a little more challenging, or I guess up in the air if I was able to get it right. So yeah, it worked out. Doing something like this digitally would be um, maybe a little easier. There, I break these out into some simple elements. Like the background, the boat, and then the ground itself. Easy, like just those three elements, and it'd be a lot of constant refining of those shapes because those shapes and silhouettes are very specific and detailed because of all that's kind of going on there. But kind of nice. But yeah, having that, and then you could just keep blending things and taking it further. So doing this digitally, it probably would be a little challenging, kind of slow at first, kind of get all the silhouettes and things broken out. But I think once you add that, it'd be really, really pretty fast. them together. So for the most part, like at this point, I haven't really put any, I blocked in the background and established the ground plane. But I just kind of left it alone. And so, the main focal point is this boat. So I want to make sure that gets its attention and gets what it needs to, and then I can move on and evaluate everything else and see everything else needs to help support that.